Hey guys, Jordan here, and in this video I'm going to be responding to a question, so let's get into it. Alright, so on this channel I talk about real estate photography, so if that's a topic you're interested in, make sure to subscribe. In this video, I'm responding, actually going to be showing a little bit about single exposure, so let's get into the question. Leo Dadier made a comment on Is Flambient Dead in 2022 video that I made. You can check that out. The link will be in the description below. But he said, I would like to see a single exposure video. Sometimes we shoot single exposure, and I actually just loaded up a single exposure shoot, or some of it, or it was already actually loaded into my Lightroom. So let's come over here to Lightroom, and let's take a look. Let me move this out of the way. All right, so if you're shooting ambient without flash, which is what this shoot was, single exposure, ambient only lighting, you can see that the image that we're getting in camera is darker than normal. Now you want to make sure your ISO settings are low. I think this one's at 100, f7.1 at 1/50th of a second. But yeah, you want your windows to have some detail out of there if you're doing a single exposure. Typically we're shooting at -0.7 when we exposure value, because if you do 0, you're not getting enough information outside. If you go too dark, then the interior starts to fall apart when you boost shadow. So let me just hit auto. I'm just gonna do some subtle adjustments here. Ooh. But you can see the colors don't look very good. You know, definitely if we would have had a flash exposure on this one, it would have looked better. That's for sure. But yeah, it looks like the color temperature. So you can warm it up and reduce the yellows or reduce the blues. Yeah, I'd probably do something like this and reduce the yellows on the walls versus the blues, because we have a blue sky. But yeah, you can see that, you know, you can make it however you want your image to look, but you have some detail outside. Obviously the end result isn't as good as if you would have had a flash exposure, but let's take a look at some exterior shots here. I find that single exposure exteriors give a better result. Let's see, like honestly, almost you can get away with single exposure almost all the time outside. Yeah, you know, this is just some basic edits, but that looks appropriate to me. You can see that it did definitely, you know, it was blown out a little bit there, but you have all the information that you need is what I'm trying to say on the exterior shots, because the lighting's pretty much the same. You're not trying to expose for a room and then windows, and that's why I think you know, even if you're shooting brackets, you can get away with a non-bracketed single exposure raw image the majority of the time outside. So anyways, let's just do one more interior shot for the heck of it. I'm not doing any presets, I'm just starting with auto, just making some subtle adjustments. And I'm not using my loop deck either, because I know that most of you guys probably don't have it, but you know, it does make it a lot easier to make these adjustments if you have a loop deck. Yeah, so some people are very concerned about making this like look as crisp, and I kind of like it how it looks a little bit faded a little bit. I think it looks more accurate in my opinion. I'll reduce the yellows a little bit, but you know, it really, at the end of the day, it just depends the type of photography that you want to create, right? I think there are tons of ways to shoot and edit real estate photography, and the end product that you want to deliver to your customer really is up to you. The single exposure thing is something that's very simple for somebody that's new. You can pick up real estate photography relatively easily instead of making it all complicated. Wow, you can really see. This really bothers me. You can see how well, over here. You can see how the lens profile isn't applied. Yeah, straighten out those lines. You know, these are some of the basic things that, you know, you gotta do your transform tool, because typically it's not perfectly straight right away, and then your profile correction. And this is a problem that you do get with single exposure RAW. Sometimes you have like this color, I forget what it's called, like this color banding or whatever. You can see it looks like purple. So sometimes you'll have to reduce, like you could select from the flooring, reduce like the purples. You see that looks better, not so distracting. But anyways, there's a lot of, you know, a lot of ways to edit your photos to make them look better. So anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. If you got value out of it, hit the like button, and we'll see you guys on the next one.